Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 347, Your Consciousness. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm also lovingly known as RCA.
Yeah.
And
RCA.
And I'm here today with my producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast, episode 347. Today is Monday, February 3rd. So happy to be here with you today as we will be talking about your consciousness.
Yes, it's my birthday month. It's a big
Yeah,
month.
happy birthday. My dad's birthday, too. Happy birthday, Dad, on the February 7th, coming up in just a few days.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah.
Bless you. That's awesome.
Yeah, very nice. So we want to do some shout outs. Of course, as always, I'm really excited for today's personal shout out, but we want to first shout out to a download location, West Hartford, Connecticut.
Ah, yes, West Hartford, a beautiful area. And thank you, friends. I might know who that is. So,
oh, yeah? I think there was a couple last week, I think, from there.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about my friend from there in the last show who really supported me, Arlene.
Oh.
She lives up in Connecticut. So, Rev, if that's you, thank you. And if it's somebody else, let us know. Always love to know the different areas that people are listening to the show. So, thank you so much.
Yes, I always think of Hartford. What was that old tongue twister? In Hartford, Harrisford, and Hampshire, there's hardly ever heard. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's some tongue twister that has Hartford in it. Wait, let me see. I think I can.
And that's what we know about it, friends.
Right, exactly. Yeah. In Hartford, Harrisford, and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen.
Ah, yes.
It's probably not referring to West Hartford, Connecticut, but either way, That's where my brain went. So
we can't help it. We're musicians.
Right.
We love all those rhymey things like Moses, supposes, and toses, or roses.
Right.
We can't help it.
My thought was that is from My Fair Lady. It might be like part of My Fair Lady.
I think it is a song. Yeah.
Yeah. Or when they're trying to teach her how to speak, like how to, in My Fair Lady. Anyway, welcome, friends. Let's get into it. Let's talk about your consciousness here on episode 347 of Experience of the Soul. Yeah, go ahead.
Was that your personal shout out that you were happy about?
Oh,
you
right.
Never did that.
No, I didn't. You're right. Sorry. I went off on a tongue twister trail and
a tongue twisting tangent.
Yes. Oh, nice. Well, our personal shout out today is to two very dear friends. You all, those of you who are close, know Dave and Shannon Kropp. Of course, Dave was the previous producer of Experience of the Soul podcast, and I was very pleased and honored to take over for him. And of course, Shannon, who we still work with on a regular basis.
Yes, thank you both. Gosh, what a blessing. Yes, and
time.
the fact that you guys are still connected. And it's interesting. At the end of December, Shannon came over and even did a little music with us at Unity in Daytona Beach. So it was like seeing a long lost friend because we work together so much, but it's all via computer. I never see her in person anymore. So friends, what a blessing you both are in my life and in the life of the show. I mean, without both of them, I could not be where we are today. And I mean, Shannon's design work, all my books that are on Amazon, Shannon has virtually done all of that. So just great and wonderful.
And her meditation music album that has supported your meditations. And those meditations that you do with her music is like, those are on another level, almost.
Well, they are. Shannon's meditative work is incredible. And I talked to her recently. I said, you got to put out another, recording. So if you guys have not checked out her stuff yet on Spotify, the spelling of the last name is Kropf.
Yes.
Shannon
and we'll definitely
Kropp.
link to that in the show notes for sure.
Yes. Check it out on Spotify, iTunes.
All Is Well is the name of the album. Sorry. All Is Well.
Yep.
And it's Shannon Kropp, All Is Well, Music for Meditation.
Yeah, well, what she did, she took the prayer for protection, which we say in unity every week. Now, I know many people that listen are not necessarily in unity, but in unity churches, most churches around the country, we say a prayer called the prayer for protection. And so Shannon took each line of that and made a meditative interpretation of those lines on piano. And so it's really, really sweet. And it connects deeply with the work I do because, and she and I worked together for more than a decade now. So
yes,
it's amazing. They've seen my son grow up. It's just amazing. I've worked with them that long,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way too about Josh. Like,
about Josh.
Yeah, because he was like maybe 5 when I started
when
coming.
You first met him.
Yeah. Started coming.
Now he's 17 on his way out. He's like, later, mama.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
He'll always be your boy.
Oh, always. Yes.
I mean, not just like me. I'm still my mom's, my mom's.
Oh, yes. I got a surprise visit today and he took me to coffee, and there's nothing better for a parent than your kid surprising you. That's a good day. That's a really awesome. Good day. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're excited about the show today. Sean, give us the title one more time, if you will. Absolutely. I think you already mentioned it, but.
Yeah, absolutely. This is episode 347 of the Experience of the Soul podcast, Your Consciousness.
Yes, friends. I love this topic, and it is absolutely piggybacking on last week's topic of working with your thoughts, because the word consciousness includes more than your thoughts. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, your beliefs and ideas. And I wanted to read this from you. This is from read this to you rather from my prosperity book called Prosperity for You. And Charles Fillmore talks in depth about consciousness. And in this book, Prosperity for You, which by the way is available on Amazon, I talk in the very beginning about consciousness creation. And always when I'm seeking to do, when I talk about, becoming more conscious, what I'm talking about is these things. So this is from Charles Fillmore's Revealing Word. And this is a quote from him. It says, "The sum total of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, sensation, knowledge, and ideas. This includes the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious phases of mind. It includes all that man is aware of, spirit, soul, and body." So that's a lot of words. So again, let me read this to you. This is Charles Fillmore's definition of consciousness. "The sum total of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, sensation, knowledge, and ideas. This includes the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious phases of mind. It includes all that man is aware of, spirit, soul, and body." So I want to break this down for us just a bit. So when we're talking about your consciousness, we always first talk about our thoughts because that's something easy to access. It is something that we can consciously work with and, become more aware almost right away when we become conscious of false narratives or false beliefs, erroneous beliefs that we may have going in our thought process. But when you realize and learn more on the journey about our the various aspects of our memories, I'll even include past life memories, our memories from childhood, our experiences in school, all the things that formed who we are a part of what we call our consciousness. Even our culture, the family in which we were raised has usually a family consciousness. It's often called in spiritual circles a family soul, but there's a way things are done. My family, I know, has its own consciousness and code. Even though it's small, it's me and my son, we still have a certain consciousness that is specific to our family. The feeling in the house, the kind of music we listen to, the kind of food we make, the kind of drinks we have around. So I want you to think about, just like, let your mind just kind of wander and think about all the things in your home. Think about all the things in your home, what you've bought, what you own, your car, the car that you drive. Everything that you have is a part of your consciousness. Even the music you choose to listen to represents a part of your consciousness. The clothes you buy, the clothes you wear is a part of your consciousness. The animals you have or don't have, the way you raise those animals is a part of your consciousness. So your consciousness is all that you are and includes all past life memory, includes all memory. And so, as Charles Fillmore said, it includes the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you're aware of, all the things I just talked about. It includes all the physical, all the things that you're aware of in your world. Like as I look around my office, all the various physical things, the trunk from Bali, the chair from my great-grandmother's home, the antlers behind me, the stained glass from my Unity. These are all things I've consciously brought into my world and into my physical life and world. The subconscious mind is what is kind of buried underneath the conscious, and it includes everything I've ever experienced, all my memories, all of my past hurts. It even includes, as I mentioned, past lives, past life memories. And if you don't believe in past lives, just let that go. Don't worry about it. You don't have to believe in past lives to listen to the podcast. I just feel quite sure for me that there are past lives. I have had past life memories, and I've worked with so many people over the years that have had past lives influencing this life, and those memories live in the subconscious. What can happen is something in the conscious world or conscious mind will happen, and it'll trigger a memory and bring it from the subconscious up into the conscious. So, yeah. So I want to explain a little bit about that. And then the superconscious mind is really the God aspect of you, what we would call the Christ, what many would call Holy Spirit or God essence. That's the superconscious mind. It's the part of us that connects with all that is, with the power of God. So I'm talking about this today, all of these things, our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our ideas, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, because we are seeking to wake up. We are seeking to be conscious beings, and we simply want to be aware of all the things that make up our consciousness. What we've done as a society, I believe, is we have made little categories of things. I forget what that's called. Why am I spacing on that word? Where we have like, over here is my work life. Over here is my spiritual life. Sean, what is that?
Compartmentalize?
Yes, compartmentalizing. Yeah. So many of us, I should say, compartmentalize our lives, but what we don't understand is everything is everything. So your consciousness is never separate from your decisions. Everything that you do, everything that you decide, everything that you listen to, everything that you, all the jobs that you have had or want, they're all manifestations and reflections of your consciousness. And I remember, this is probably 30 years ago, and I was sitting in a class with, or 25 years ago, I was sitting in a class with Jane Elizabeth Hart, and she was talking about this. She was talking about consciousness, and she said, cars are consciousness. And I remember thinking, my car is consciousness? My car was a wreck. And I had a dog that I loved to put in my car, and the back seat was just, couldn't even have anybody in the car. It was such a mess. And I said, you know what? I need to clean up my consciousness. And I said, what is my car representing in me that it looks like that? And the car was a really nice car. It was actually a Volkswagen Golf, black with a sunroof, stick shift. I loved that car. So if I love the car, why was I treating it that way? Right? And so I looked at, my goodness, if cars are consciousness, what does this say about me? And I had to breathe into that, friends, and I had to do some work on what is in my consciousness. What is my consciousness about that it would allow my car to look like this? My car is my consciousness. Well, I cleaned it out, and it turned out, I found out I had a friend whose husband did detail work, and I said, will you detail this car? And she looked at it and she said, oh my gosh. I said, I know, it's awful. I'm embarrassed, but I'm not so embarrassed. I don't want you to do it. I want you to help me get it to where it should be. And they detailed that car to the point that when I got it back, it looked brand new. And I said, this is the kind of car I should be in. This is what it should look like all the time. And it was a moment of change for me. My car choices only went up from there. And the way I kept my car went up from there, because I realized I was not caring for myself. I was not honoring myself. I was eating all kinds of things in the car. There were old French fries. And I mean, it was disgusting. I'll be honest. It was gross. There wasn't actually like old McDonald's wrappers or anything, but honestly, it was dirty. There was dog hair. It was gross. And I thought, I do not want this in my consciousness. And so I used that one example to really grow and to investigate what in my consciousness has allowed me to do this. And in truth, I didn't feel like I deserved something nice. And I had to come to consciousness about that. I had to move into a deeper awareness about that. And it was a time of tremendous growth for me. And I thought, what else am I not conscious about? And it really started me on a deeper journey of understanding how everything around me was representing what was in my consciousness. Everything. From the car I drove, to the clothes I wear, to the place I lived. And friends, it was a sobering thought. Oh my gosh, it was a sobering thought. I also got to see places where I had really grown. Like, oh wow, in the past I did this, now I'm doing that. Man, that is a growth. Man, that is a big growth in consciousness. So, yeah. So I want you to just allow yourself the time and space to think about, what is in my life right now? What does it represent about my consciousness? It's interesting, at the end of last year, which I can't believe I'm already saying last year, Sean. I know it's only February, but it was at the end of last year in 2024. I took a little time off, and I was going through some things, and I thought, why do I have all of this in this area? What is this about? And, some stuff was stuff I was helping Josh with. Some stuff was just stuff that needed to be thrown or given away. Anyway, long story short, I cleaned out this whole area, and my whole house feels better energetically. And my house has always felt great energetically. I just felt like it flowed better. I felt like in my bedroom, which is, of course, a sacred place for sleep and rest, a lot of the energy I cleaned out was in there, and just threw away. I mean, there were old papers shoved in a drawer. There were old books that I hadn't looked at since I moved, but since I moved them here and put them in my bedroom. And it just felt so good to release that energy completely. And I was able to take some very nice things to the thrift store nearby where I know the owner. And I felt great just releasing those things and being able to move forward. And it's like, yes, this is what I want my consciousness to feel like. This is what I want my home to feel like. And one of my goals for the new year, I can't remember the exact wording. I don't have it in front of me, but I think the wording is something like, be in prayer about how my home can support my life and my lifestyle even better. Because my schedule is varied, and I What were you going to say, Sean?
Oh, nothing. I actually, I totally know what you're talking about, because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we were working with that, or I was working with that a lot at towards the end of the year. And really, it kind of rolled over like into the way we put away Christmas when we took down all of the outdoor Christmas decoration. Like our garage is like more clean, more organized than it ever has been since we've lived in this house, because we took everything out, and I was like, let's just start over, and let's
Yes.
only keep what we put out every year, get rid of the things we haven't put out in a couple of years that are still nice and somebody could get some
And
use
somebody
out
could
of.
use, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you
And
have such a beautiful home that,
thank you.
and it's a large home, so I bet you felt the difference energetically, right, going in
Big
there.
time, big time. And even in my home, just as you said, you were working with that stuff. Like when we were going through the 7 spiritual laws, that's I feel like I'm still working on that. That law of minimization one, because
Right.
it's I'm still doing it. I'm still finding
Mm.
rooms that need it and closets that need it, and it just feels
Yes.
like it's a never ending process. But eventually it'll get there where every closet is done, every room is done, the garage is done, and
Yes.
it is reflective of. I've never felt more clear in a lot of ways,
Exactly.
because of all of those things.
Well,
And that
right, as the scriptures say, it's like as above, so below, as within, so without. That's just how it is. And sometimes when you start with the outer world, just being willing to start with the outer world, it makes the inner world more peaceful. But, you've been doing all this inner work that you were like, you know what? It's time to do it. So it really did come from the inner, but sometimes it kind of sneaks up on you and you don't know it's coming from the inner. But it does. And
yeah,
what you're describing is great, because it does become more of a way of life. It's not like every year I have to go, oh, this is a huge task. Every couple months I'll go, you know what? I think I'm going to work with this one area. It's got some old energy. Like I recently worked in an area in the kitchen, and things that, I would just like throw old receipts and stuff there. And I'm like, this doesn't feel, you know, and it took all of half an hour to clean out everything and start over. And there's a couple other little areas I'll do as I get the time. But the point is, it does become a way of life, and the more clear you get, the more clear your home and everything else is, because it can't be any other way. It's only reflects who you are.
yeah. It's funny how that is.
Yes.
You don't really realize it, or at least I don't know, maybe it's just where I'm at right now, but I feel like I'm noticing all of that so much more than I ever have before. And at 48 years old, that's a long ways in to to just now start to realize, oh, if I keep this area clean and organized, then I'm going to feel much better, and maybe I won't have so much stress and anxiety because I feel like I'm on top of everything.
Well, it does make a difference. Yes, it
Yeah.
does make a difference. And I really learned about it from my friend who was self-employed, and he was a sound man, by trade. And he would, I lived with him in ministerial school, and he was our sound tech for the church, and, good friend and everything. And I just rented part of his house. And so we became really good friends. And when he didn't have any sound work, because he was self-employed, he would go out, he would clean all of his gear. He would, vacuum off the speakers and everything. He would shine everything up. And I mean, within 24 hours of doing that, I saw him do it over and over and over again. The phone would start to ring. And he said, it happens every time. He said, God told me to do this one time, and every time I do it, my phone rings. God is helping me as I move this energy. He was so clear about that. As he got clean and clear, as he prepared to work, guess what? The universe said, you got it. Here you
Yes.
go.
As you make space for it,
Yeah.
God, Spirit will fill it in.
Amen. That
With
is
what
right.
You're wanting. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned the book. Somebody just reached out and said they ordered several copies for people
nice.
for Christmas, so that made my day.
Excellent.
Yes, and that they really enjoyed the podcast on the book, and like I say, ordered several copies. So that is awesome. And this is just another deeper version of it. It's noticing where your consciousness is. And again, like you were saying, Sean, your home is one aspect, your office is another, and what you're going to discover is, again, everything is everything. There's a book, How You Do Anything is How You Do Everything. You can take a little snapshot of your life and you're going to go, oh yeah, that's true. You could analyze it and find that to be true.
Okay.
Because we're all living out of certain archetypal patterns that we are not aware of, And so I think I mentioned on the show one time that I know I mentioned it on a Sunday that growing up, I remember when rap started. Do you remember that?
I do
when
remember
rap
that, but yeah.
started, and I had a boom box and everything, and I was from the hood, and as I heard a lot of rap, even though I grew up in a family with classical music and everything. And I did play, and I learned classical, and I went to school for music, classical music. But I always loved rap. And as rap developed, it got more and more, sexist and violent and everything else. Part of it is rap comes out of your experience. And if you're growing up in the hood or in the projects and all this kind of stuff, 8 Mile and all that, that's what the music is going to be. Well, as my consciousness has developed, as much as I love the beat, as much as I love the vibe, I can't really listen to it anymore. But lucky for me, other rappers are waking up, and there's a thing now called conscious rap. And I'm glad I found it, because it's still the fun beat. It's still the fun rhythm. It's still the fun kind of, feel, but it has a more conscious message, because I cannot have in my consciousness anymore that other stuff. It is too dissonant with the life I'm trying to create. And so that's what I mean about consciousness.
And it does make a difference, right? It has an impact. You might think, oh, I'm just watching, or, some people might think I'm just watching this. I'm just listening to it. It's not, there's no way, it's not affecting my life. But yeah, it really does. I mean,
oh, listen, there's a reason companies pay millions of dollars for one commercial at the Super Bowl. They know that the images and the messages are going to impact your purchases.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody is trying to sell us something,
This is taking me back to an episode we did previously, and the name of it's escaping me, but I will put it in the show notes. But it was the episode that was all about the images we take in.
Oh, was it The Problem of Evil?
Was that what it was? Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. But yes, let's put it in the show notes. I've had probably more comments about that one show than any other show.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, but people going, my God, it is so true. And I've been there too. And I've started to just turn the TV off and listen to music. So think about it, friends, as you're going throughout your day, because it doesn't take a lot of energy. It's like just this new awareness of, gosh, where's my consciousness at right now? How you're feeling, if you're feeling like a victim, if you're looking for somebody to blame, boy, there is healing work to be done. Most definitely. There's healing work to be done. There's forgiveness. There is release. There is, healing needed. And the thing I've learned, and it's been a hard truth because I love to help people. I can try to help people all I want to. And if they're not ready to heal, I cannot help. And so you being aware, you taking responsibility for your consciousness, for what's in it, for what, the choices you're making. This is the life of a soul on purpose. This is a person who is waking up. If you're looking for somebody to blame, if you're hateful and spiteful, no, this is not the behavior of an enlightened soul. And, I know we see it in our world, and we see, this person talking about that person and all this anger and everything. Friends, anger is one of the lowest emotions you can have. And when you decide that you want to heal, when you decide that you want to wake up, you are going to begin to notice your choices, what those choices are bringing you. You're going to begin to notice what is in your consciousness. And because you're a soul on purpose, you are going to seek to heal even further. We're always coming back to, we are here to grow, prosper, and evolve. And if you're keeping everything the same in your choices and in your world, you are never going to grow. And it is a walk of faith. It is a walk, as I like to say, in consciousness. And as we said last show, it is a walk of the resilient soul who is willing to even attempt to do this. because it can be very hard to grow in a world that is so dense and so tied into how you look and what everybody thinks. Because as your consciousness grows and expands, you are going to be inspired to make different choices than anyone around you. People may not understand it. That's okay. I've had friends move across the country and sell everything. People say they're crazy, and yet they're the happiest people I know. So, it'd be great if we were all that crazy, where we could just do as we were guided because of what was in our consciousness, how spirit was moving us forward. So my hope is that you just give thought to this, give prayer to this. What in my world, what is in my consciousness? What are my thoughts, feelings, beliefs, ideas? What are my feelings? What are my sensations? What is the knowledge that I'm seeking? And see how that is a reflection for you. See how that is a wake-up call to places where you can heal, and also see that you have made some wonderful choices for yourself. You can also go, wow, look at where I am today. Very different from where I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And that can be a beautiful encouragement to continue on this path, continue on the spiritual journey of the evolving soul. And friends, this is my hope for you. Absolutely. That you will believe that you are worthy to do the work in consciousness, to continue to experience all the good God has for you. So work with that consciousness, friends. And as we move forward on the podcast and all the many ways that I put out spiritual messages, all these things over the next several weeks and months are going to be to help you do just that. So I hope you'll engage with us. Yes, on social media, but even more so in the SoulWorks community. Check out our YouTube channel. Stay with the podcast, friends. We are doing everything we can to provide you with spiritual food to support your journey. So many, many blessings, my dear friends, and blessings on the journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the SoulWorks Group, Incorporated. Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.